Guru Nation, we got a double dipper because not only was Jesse Padilla on once when we discussed our success story from patient A's, he's one of our best clients, but Jesse Padilla is a site owner in SoCal, so near and dear to my heart. That's my home base, more or less. I'm taking a brief hiatus in Yuma, which not too far from the California border. Just yeah, sometimes when I go get a burrito, it says "Welcome to California," and then you go back and you're in Arizona again. Then the right now the time's different
Yeah.
because
No,
Arizona doesn't change the time, but half the year we're on the same
really.
time, half
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
different. But that's SoCal life, man, and I know it so well from starting sites there, and that's where I got my start, and it could be competitive, and that I think we want to talk a little bit about that, like what made you guys succeed. So this is Jesse Padilla, he's the director of operations from Valiant's Clinical Research,
Yeah.
and they have several Southern California locations. A couple in the LA, one in the Valley of LA, and then one in San Diego, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
No, you're right. Absolutely right.
It's something about that going from point A to point B out there that's just, I don't miss that. That's like one of the things I don't miss about SoCal.
I agree with you. I got my new space 5 minutes from my house. It's down the street. That's where we do our corporate administrative stuff because I
Is that
just,
Topanga or where?
no, this is in Valencia.
Ah, Valencia. Okay,
So
yeah.
yeah, so in Valencia now we have our space here, which is where we do a lot of the administrative stuff, regulatory stuff.
Hey, is it true
Um,
they're closing down Magic Mountain there?
I heard the same thing, but I think it's another Magic Mountain or another
Ah,
Six
okay.
Flags. I'm not sure if this one. I don't think this one would shut down anytime soon.
I don't think that one. That was like my
No.
childhood right there. Maybe they're
Yeah, yeah.
referring to a strip club or something on the Magic Mountain.
Probably some Six Flags, some kind of Six Flags. I think there was another one though that I did see closing down, but I don't think it's the one
Yeah,
here in
that's
California.
that's what I associate Valencia with, like being from the Orange County, more or less.
Yeah,
Anything
Valencia,
like
Santa Clarita.
yeah, anything north of like the 10, you don't even consider where we're from down
Right.
down
Yeah.
south. And then you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
the
yeah.
opposite. Anything south of the 10 you don't even consider.
Exactly. No, for sure. Of course. I mean, I grew up in LA. I grew up in particularly in Koreatown. And
Ah, nice.
I yeah, when we would come up to Santa Clarita to go to Six Flags, I mean, it seemed like a
It seemed
2 day
like
mission.
so far, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
grew up in
absolutely.
uh I grew up in Santa Monica and we went to this Romanian church in Eagle Rock.
Yeah.
And as a kid, my parents like drove me, and as a kid you're just in Santa Monica the whole time, like so when we went to Eagle Rock, which is not that far, but I felt like we were going like to a strange land. We
Yeah.
went through all these tunnels and stuff, and it looked nothing like Santa Monica. And
Very different.
yeah, that's the SoCal diversity for you.
It's
Like,
great. Yeah, it's I love it. It's you get to feel like you're in a different state and a different country in some
all the time.
places.
Yeah, whenever you
Yeah,
get out of your little city. So, but it's also very hard to succeed there as a site owner.
absolutely. No, it's very
And
tough, very
you guys have
competitive.
done it well, and you've been not only a patient ACE client of ours, but a DSCS client of ours.
That's right.
How
Yeah.
has how has that service been, would
It's
you say?
I mean, since 2019, when I first reached out to you back in December 2019, with the plan and the vision of starting my site because I didn't have one yet. I was a coordinator, but as a coordinator at that particular location, I had the opportunity to do everything from A to Z. But I reached out to you, contracted the service, and we've yielded a few projects from it. And I think more importantly, what we uh, got from it is these leads that we received that we reached out to might have not been immediate projects, but we've received the contact later on, a year or 2 years later, for this sponsor CRO. And I'm like, I remember contacting them somehow, and it was through one
Wow.
of the leads. I mean, some of the studies, some of the leads that we get, they're probably finishing out a phase two. They're no longer
Yeah,
accepting sites, but you're probably going to be in line for phase three,
they're
right?
planting
Or
seeds. That's actually
right.
Chris's question because he couldn't join us, but
Yeah.
he said the only question I really have is, what does he think of our leads and how many studies a year does he get from those leads? So you pretty much answered
It's
his
planting
question.
seeds. It's
Hmm.
planting seeds, and that's something that, I talk to a lot of people that, have the idea of opening up a site, right? And those that we have helped open up sites, um, they're thinking it's, you if you build it, they will come. Yes, but it's gonna take some time. You got to plant the seeds because by the time you get your site up and running, you get your CLIA waivers and your equipment calibration and all this stuff, you've already planted some seeds and you might have some feasibilities, but by the time that site selection visit comes in, it's going to take several
Yeah.
months to a year. Um,
Gotta
and I
plant
mean,
the
it's
seeds. Who
you got to
calibrates your
plant the seeds.
equipment? Don't tell me Kevin Anderson.
No, no.
That dude is all over the map in SoCal. I go to my regular doctor there when I still lived there, and no research, just regular doctor. He weighs me. I see that dude's calibration on
Yeah.
on the log there, like on the scale over there at the doctor's office. So that dude, shout out to Kevin, and we should probably get him on the podcast.
Eventually, yeah, we use it for a little bit, but we ended up using
Oh, you did use him before.
yeah, initially when we were starting out, yeah, we used that
That
was a
guy's
vendor that
all over the
yeah,
place.
that's what we were using when I was a coordinator back at the
I
first site that I worked out of.
gotcha.
So when I went on to doing my own thing, obviously I brought some of those resources, right? But then we ended up switching over to a vendor. They're called Joint Matters here in Southern California,
Ah, okay.
who I think they do a phenomenal job. I mean, we had some of the sponsors kind of, you know, give us some feedback on the reports, calibration reports that they were looking for, and we did switch over. Joint Matters, they're doing a great job so far and very efficient. But yeah, we're using Joint Matters now. But Kevin Anderson, I know him very well.
Kevin's a legend. I mean, now we can't use him because he doesn't come out to Arizona, but we have a one that comes from Phoenix. But I know what you mean by the specifications that they require. Like they, they send like this thick of a report
Right.
based on the equipment. Whereas back in the day, Kevin would just give you a log and an invoice and call it a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things that I hold our company down for is being credible,
Yeah,
accountable, and I
yeah,
think that certain reports only go so far, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
Joint Matters, I mean, when they come in, they bring in like cases of equipment to
Yeah,
calibrate,
yeah. Our
a
guys too
thermometer.
here. I forgot
Yeah,
their name, but they do all Arizona basically. So
right.
it's a different level of sophistication these days with some of these equipments.
It's important, man. It's important. It's quality over quantity. Yeah, that's one of our models, one of our slogans is quality over quantity, right? And these guys, again, they come in, calibrate all of our equipment, and I mean, even if we have to get like a new pulse ox, we get them out within 24 hours, and they
Oh
come and
wow.
all these
Okay.
things. They just, calibrate a pulse oximeter. I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know how you could do that, but they do it, and they give you a full report. And you
Yeah.
know, it's good, man. They're a great vendor, and slowly but surely, again, as I consider ourselves still a new company, we're still building, we're still growing, we're still
2019? Yeah, that's pretty good.
20, yeah, yeah, very new. First study that we ever got was actually in I think August 2020.
Okay.
No, I'm
Okay.
lying. First study that we actually got as Valiant's clinical research was in the peak of the or start of COVID pandemic. It was a hypertension study. Unfortunately, by the time that COVID peaked, that study shut down, so we were no longer going to continue its site activation process. And that was a pretty dark time because I was so excited for the study. I'm thrilled that we're going to get this project. This is going to be our first study, but then uh, the study shut down. And I would say around August or September of 2020, another sponsor contacted us for a nephrology trial. And thankfully, they were accepting sites. We ended up, being selected for the site. December 10, 2020, we randomized our first patient as Valiant's
Wow.
clinical research. Yeah. Um,
Congrats, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was tough, man. I mean, peak pandemic, it didn't slow down at that
Yeah.
point. It was tough. We kept scratching and clawing, reaching out to sponsors and CROs, and back to planting seeds is a lot of the leads that we got through your services and just through a lot of the outreach that we did through clinicaltrials.gov, and then networking with other sites. Some of those studies that we reached out to in 2020, 2021. have come back to contact us in 2024, now 2025, and we're getting these new sponsors and CROs that we've never worked with that we've been wanting to work with. You know, you got your Amgens, your
Mm.
Pfizers, your Sanofi's. You know, we never had projects with them, but they've come around for full circle, and now they're offering us not just one study, two studies, but more than that. Um, but it was definitely you know, it's been rough. You know, it's been a while, but thankfully we're pushing through it. We're being successful in the areas that we want to be successful in.
Yeah, there, and you mentioned a good point about sponsors, like the big sponsors. We all love the small biotechs. It's nice, it's interesting. But the big sponsors have repeat business for you if you do well. You know, big like Lilly, Merck, Takeda. I don't particularly like Merck, but Pfizer, GSK, that's a
Yeah,
good one. I texted my new hire. Her name is Daniela Ramirez. She's an international medical graduate. She's actually from Tijuana and lives out here in Yuma now. And I put her in touch with networking with other site owners
yeah.
to share studies and stuff. So I'm gonna email her and introduce her to you if that's okay. And
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, it's we're as sites, we definitely need to be comfortable
Yes.
collaborating a lot more
Yes.
than we think. I mean, especially for newer sites, I know it's tough because we want to kind of keep the studies under wraps and be like, well, I don't want everybody to know because maybe I won't
Yeah.
get selected for it. But that's one of the ways that we've built our operations by networking with other sites. There's a site
Yeah.
that I actually helped start over in the East Coast in New York. I met this guy
Oh, really?
just by networking and having, video calls with them, literally walked him through the process of setting up his site. And now he's been going strong for about a year and a half. Shout out to
Wow.
Clindov Research in New York City. Yeah.
New
I
York
think they're
City.
in Brooklyn.
Wow.
Yeah. So from LA, I helped this guy kind of get his project, his site off the ground. He's currently doing very well. He's got about two or three studies. One of the studies that I helped place at his site as well.
Oh,
But
congrats, man.
yeah,
What's the
but
name? What's that site name?
Clindov,
Clindove. Okay. Shout
Clindov,
out to
yeah,
Clindove and
yeah, for
shout out
sure.
to you, man. That's really good. We need exactly why we created Save Our Sites is to foster this level of
Yeah,
engagement among site owners. And yeah, I know I'm a site owner too. Like, there's this whole, well, if I share this, I have a less chance of getting it. From my experiences, that is true occasionally, but the majority of the time it's not. And if you just follow this method, you will get more than you lose by
yeah,
far. Like,
yeah,
it's not even close. So that's why I do it. And I'm assuming you agree, or else
absolutely.
you wouldn't do it.
I totally agree, and I kid you not. I mean, I helped him going right. I threw him a bone, and he threw me several, right? And we've
Nice.
gotten several projects because of his, expertise in networking, and he
Nice,
does a phenomenal
nice.
job at networking and marketing, where he's getting these meetings with the Novos and the, Vertex and AstraZeneca's, and I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing, bro? Like, hook me up, and
Nova was the hardest, man. We
yeah,
finally getting them to come to Yuma. So I'm a year behind you on our site. Like the
okay,
timeline, I moved out here in July of 21, and I didn't randomize my first patient till March of 22.
right,
So like we're basically what is it now, 25? Like yeah, we're gonna be like 4 years from randomizing our first patient.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but dude, Lily came quick. Lily, and when Lily likes you, they come multiple times.
yeah,
We
yeah,
did screw up with a few sponsors. Luckily, they were small. One of my PIs, he didn't realize research was this intense, and he just kind of bailed mid-study, so that was not good. Luckily, that was with a biotech, but GSK, um, what's the other big one? Boehringer Ingelheim.
oh yeah,
They are huge. And finally, Novo is the hardest. But these GLP wave,
yeah.
did you did you hear that Dave Rick's interview on Cheeky Pint with
I
the
did not
Lilly?
know. No, share
Okay,
that.
so I mean, they today Lilly hit $1 trillion market cap. It's the first time ever a pharmaceutical company hit $1 trillion.
Amazing.
And it's basic, he said it's basically 80% due to GLPs. And they've got 12 more GLP-1 studies in the pipeline,
Yeah.
and there's 80 total in the industry right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Trials. So no, there's a race going on. Novo finally, and I was reaching out, man. As soon I partner with a busy physician here, every rep came to him. So I was like, dude, who's your Novo rep? And I bugged the hell out of this person.
Yeah.
Nothing, nothing. It might have been planting seeds because now they reached out last week, like, hey, we want to come out and visit. The MSL
Yeah.
wants to visit. So
Yeah.
hopefully Novo, we start working with them soon, but they were the hardest ones to get a hold of.
Right, right. They're very tough to get a hold of. I mean, you got that generic email, right, on clinicaltrials.gov where you reach out to them and
Yeah,
you
no,
get the
not
same
that.
response, like,
Yeah.
thank you for your inquiry. Your email has been forwarded to the appropriate contact, but maybe it does. Maybe that person did forward the email, and then you get that contact. And sure enough, we did get we've done 4 site selection visits for this one project with Novo. 2 of our sites have been selected. I'm pretty confident the other 2 are going to be selected, and it's a pretty
Mm.
interesting project. Our cardiologists are very excited about it.
Yeah, the
And
card, I have one too, so we can
yeah,
share. We're actually good synergies to share leads. I have a theory about how these big pharma find us. So I noticed something, it might be anecdotal, but um, as soon as Lilly gave us a study, we had to do SIP. You know how like
yeah,
they make you, and then our Lilly rep was like, yeah, it sucks, but you gotta do it. I'll walk you through, blah blah. And this was back in the day. I was doing it
yeah,
like 4 years ago. And once I put our company in SIP, man, like 2 weeks later, Boringer messaged me out of nowhere.
yeah.
Hey, we want to do this. So I have a theory that SIP is like a great marketing tool, but it's invite only,
Right,
I think. And then on top of that, this GLP, I know they're looking like Lilly's looking at which study sites they have intel, like which study sites Novo is using and vice versa.
right.
So if you're in with one of them and you do good, I think the other ones are gonna find you now.
It just comes in waves. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
surprising because I think there's a couple of other projects in the obesity, diabetes field that have expressed interest in offering us their studies, and of course we're expressing interest in conducting
yeah,
their studies. Right, we're
yeah.
not gonna turn them down. They each have different protocols, different requirements, but yeah, it's kind of like a snowball effect. You get that first one, it keeps going, and that ball just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
And again, Novo, for example, they've offered us, their this current project for heart failure and obesity, and then they offered us another CKD study because we're strong in nephrology. We have a ton of
Okay.
nephrologists, so we did have a
I have a
meeting with
brand
their
new
MSLs. Yeah,
nephrologist.
they're
We haven't got her a study yet, but I have a nephrologist now on my
yeah.
list
I
of people to get studies for.
We started with nephrology, so we have a pretty good pipeline of nephrology
Okay. Do you need your
trials.
own dialysis for that? Like, do you need?
Well, if you're gonna get dialysis studies, you literally you might want to have an independent dialysis center
Yeah,
versus the big networks.
yeah,
However, if you do have a project and you want to work with the DaVitas, Fresenius, US Renal, there's possibilities of partnerships. They do take,
yeah,
some of the profit, but I mean, you gotta spend some to make some, right?
yeah.
And getting your foot in the door. But if your nephrologist has independent facilities that he works out of, then you can get into those ESRD studies, which are pretty tough because there's a lot of adverse events. The
Hmm.
population is not as healthy. Um, and then the CKD population, of course. But yeah, I mean, that's how we started off, and thankfully now we've been branching out into different therapeutic areas: cardiology,
Okay, okay.
endocrinology, pulmonology.
Yeah,
Um,
Daniela's gonna be emailing you. I'm gonna connect
yeah,
you guys.
absolutely. Yeah, I'll have her connect with our business administrator too, and we can kind of
Okay, perfect.
exchange some stuff. I like being kept in the loop, so please keep me in the loop. And then yeah, happy to network, and that's how it has to happen. To be honest, that's how
Yeah,
I feel, we got that big push is because of these sites that I connected with, and we were able to kind of share some leads. They share some stuff, and then you build a relationship with that sponsor and that CRO. And
yeah,
if you're delivering quality work, then they're gonna keep coming back to you, just like you're mentioning. Not to say we haven't had our mistakes. We've had some pretty big mistakes with one of the sponsors. The study got pretty much shut down at the site. Same thing. PI coordinators weren't really handling the process well, and understandably so. We didn't even end up invoicing for the startup fees because I felt so bad. I was like, you know what, here, we're not even going to tax you guys for anything because
Wow.
it sucks. I mean,
I
it's
would have got them
reputation,
on the
man.
startup fees.
No, man, I felt terrible about it,
Wait,
and I
so you
and
guys screwed up like without getting in details, but you did the started doing the study and screwed up like on a visits or
on a visit, yeah, and it was
uh,
literally like the first visit. The coordinators basically didn't show that quality,
yeah,
quality work. And this is when I started kind of leaving that site to start the Tarzana
yeah,
site.
yeah, it
So
happens.
I kind of had my lead coordinator and her backup coordinators and the PI and the sub I. But that was the first study that I was like, okay, you guys got it. Let me go and do my thing over
Mm-hmm,
here.
mm-hmm.
And sure enough, man, like 2 weeks later after screening this patient, I get an email from the sponsor that the patient, reached out to the sponsor and said, "Hey, like I don't like the way that they did things." Um,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
man, yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible, and
That
we
is
definitely,
embarrassing.
yeah,
Like I
absolutely.
haven't had a patient contact that sponsor yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
They reached out directly to the spot. So this patient knew about research.
Yeah.
I got that right away because I was the one that,
Mm,
did the pre-screening, can talk to the patient over the phone and everything. And the patient knew about research. She knew
okay.
how it goes down. And I think, that like after that, I tell my team, pretend everybody is, from a sponsor, CRO,
Yeah.
FDA, like, treat them the same way. Make
Yeah.
sure you carry that visit, the way as if they're, somebody's spying on you.
It's hard,
Um,
man, because maybe that's we can discuss this because the first, we're about to be in like year 5 or 4.5, whatever. Uh I used to be very hands-on on the operations and now I'm not. Like I don't know any patient really. My business partner, Jaime Valles, who's the nurse practitioner, he does. He knows all of them. But the when you start delegating to staff, and we try to hire very good staff, but we don't have a very much of a structure. Like it's pretty lenient as far as like what you can do, who you need to talk to. Like my philosophy is you hire people that don't need micromanaging and
right,
kind of fix later, but it hasn't been free of its own issues either because people get complacent. People, um, I mean, human beings, they'll cut corners if they can. We do the same, so can't really
right,
blame them. Ultimately, it's our fault if the system's not working because we're the ones building it. What is your take on managing staff and building a system? Because that's, to me, that's always something that even if you got it right, you always have to like maintain it.
right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it all falls on the staff as well, right?
Hmm.
There's no real structure for clinical research in a lot of areas. There's a lot of gray areas in clinical
Hmm.
research, where, staff has to learn and adapt to, right? You got sponsors that want to use their own training logs, their own delegation logs, their own temperature monitoring logs, and some of the staff doesn't know how to handle those kind of requests, right? So,
Hmm.
um, I mean, how we have it is we have our site directors who are at minimum either an RN, a nurse practitioner, or a PA, right? Um, we feel that because they have this strong background in healthcare, they can easily adapt and have worked in big situations in institutions, hospitals, and nursing homes and hospices. They can manage a site a lot better than, a coordinator that kind of, started off as a coordinator, went up to a lead, and now they're running a site. Um, but they can't handle the stress and the workload of it, right? Um, but creating that system where you have your site director, you have your backup director or site manager, and then you have your lead coordinator. This is how we have it, and then you have your supporting staff. And this could be a new coordinator that we
Wow.
delegate to doing some entry level stuff, right? You're just gonna go in there and process some labs and enter some data, and then the next person kind of QAs their stuff, and it
I
just keeps
see.
going up the
So
ladder, right?
you have the like entry level like basically assistants, then you have the lead coordinator,
Hmm.
and then you
Yeah,
have
we
a
have
site
like
director.
right. We have CRC one. So we have CRC assistant, CRC one, CRC two, site
Ah,
directors,
ah.
site managers.
What's the
Um,
difference between like site director, site manager?
So a site manager, site director is more of they're licensed professionals at this point. They're either RNs or
Ah,
NPs.
okay,
So they're
okay.
doing more of the kind of medical, overview, reviewing labs, kind of obviously not making assessment, but reviewing and seeing like, hey, this is important. Let's get the sub-I or the PI to get involved in this, right?
Hmm.
Like ASAP. So that's kind of the difference of a site director. And a site director has to deal with more of the relationships with the PI, making sure that the PIs are staying on top of their game. If the PI is not responding to the coordinators, the site director gets involved. Site managers are looking over the study coordinators, right? These entry level coordinators, mid level coordinators, and then it's the site
Okay.
manager. And then, of course, I mean, if
So the site director is the clinical RN or NP. The site manager is more of a QA person for for the
right,
coordinators. Like, hey,
right,
make sure you're following
exactly.
this process and
Right. So
gotcha.
before the coordinators go to the site director, they likely will go to the site manager, right,
And the
and say,
site
"Hey,
manager, I'm assuming, is promoted from whoever was a coordinator.
exactly." So if you show that grittiness, you're gonna move up the ranks, right?
I
And
actually
then
like that, man.
yeah, it's a pretty good flow. It worked out. One of our busiest site.
So it
It's a
allowed
site that
you
we
to
kind of
like get
tested.
out of the way, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Since I think since last year, a year and a half, maybe close to 2 years, I haven't
Yeah.
been involved in a patient visit at this point. I'm
Okay.
not delegated to the studies. Slowly but surely, I'm not delegated to the studies. I think there's some that I'm still delegated on, which are like the older studies. I don't want to put my new staff on. There's no
Yeah, it
reason to
makes
do it.
sense. So what were you
Um,
gonna say? Your busiest site?
my busiest site is a site that we kind of test these, little models with, right?
Ah,
Which is the
interesting.
Tarzana site. Um, and I mean, I invited you and Ronak if you guys want to come down
Oh,
and do
we're
your
coming.
podcast there.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the site that we kind of established that model with, and then we, duplicated it at the other locations, right? So at minimum, site director is going to be a RN or a nurse practitioner or a PA, and then you have your supporting staff.
Are those site director full time?
They're full time. Yeah,
Okay.
full time.
So they're not RNs or NPs that double dip with private practices and stuff
No,
like that. Okay.
no, they're just dedicated to research. I think to keep that quality up in this industry, in this operation at the site level, man, you got to be in it. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
half-ass it. You can't have one foot in the door and the other foot out.
No, no, no.
Unless you're gonna do some very basic stuff. Like one of the things that we're working on right now is hiring NPs to come in as sub-Is to kind of do some physical assessments and taking on for the increase of screening activity. Shout out patient ACE. Um,
Oof.
so we're getting these sub-Is now we're getting nurse practitioners or PAs to start coming in to help out the increase in activity, right? But I mean, again, we're trying to make it so where we can increase activity, keep the quality up, have our coordinators, be able to take on the workload. So
How did
we
this
got
structure come about? Like just organically, or you planned it this way, or
no, or I mean, it happened organically because we started seeing the necessities of separating things from a coordinator that does A to Z, right?
yeah.
The way I was raised as a coordinator is I was doing A to Z, and I know how tough that can be,
Me
right? You're
too. That's the school I come
pre-screening,
from.
yeah, pre-screening, screening, data entry, QA, QC, regulatory, laboratory, shipping, processing, IMVs, closeout visits, everything. Knowing how hard that is, we started looking at how many studies we're getting, how many patients we're seeing, and we're like, okay, we can afford to now separate these roles, right? So, um, regulatory is one of the big things that we just launched right now. So we have our own dedicated regulatory department. We brought in someone who has,
Department. Wow.
yeah. So this person has 10 years plus of just regulatory. She's never been a coordinator, just regulatory. She's leading a team of two right now to support our 50, 60 studies that we have active. Um,
Wow.
then we have our data entry that's kind of, getting going now as well. We have our dedicated data entry person who's, supporting, who's going to get the support of two other people. Um, Recruitment to keep up with patient
You
ACE.
grew pretty damn fast in 5 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Thankfully, again, it comes with bringing in the right people. So when I brought in the nurses and the nurse practitioners who's worked at hospitals, I was like, what are you guys doing at hospitals seeing thousands of patients that we can bring in to this level? So they started coming together and like, okay, this is what we got to do. This is how we're going to structure it. We're going to start assigning patients so that it's not just like whoever walks in, a random coordinator. No, we assign patients per day. Every morning they have a huddle. They see their schedule. You two are going to see this patient. You're going to see this patient. You're going to do this for the day. So they break it down by, you know, what needs to happen in the day. You're going to focus on data entry because we have a IMV. You're going to focus on calling patients because it's a slower day or whatever.
Yeah. Now, how many
And
coordinator at the busy site, the Tarzana? How many,
so Tarzana has,
or
I would
total
like to
staff,
say
maybe total staff
total staff. I would like to say 6 or 7 staff, 6 or 7 staff. That's including the site director.
includes the site director. And
Yeah.
how many
So
studies you guys get there? Or?
at that one, I would say we have about 25 active studies.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So not all of them are,
Right.
heavy in recruitment. And that's one of the things to mention is you can have all the studies. You can have 50 studies at one site, but if you have one patient or zero patients, you're not making anything,
There's
you
nothing.
know.
Yeah, actually, you're losing because it's
If you have that many
maintenance
staff for
and
sure. If it was just me, I can handle it. But
yep,
um,
yep.
yeah, I mean, you can have all those studies. So not all of those studies have 15, 20, 30 patients. Some of them have two, three. It might be
Yeah, yeah,
because they're
right.
difficult. Likely it's because they're difficult, because if they're not, we should be enrolling a lot more.
Yeah,
We should
right.
meet the goal. But that's the structure that we have. And again, we're still, you know,
It's not a bad
restructuring it.
structure. It's actually something similar to what I'm very close to that point. Do that. Like Jaime, our NP, he's basically become our de facto clinical director, more or
Yeah,
less. I'm technically the site director, but that doesn't mean much. But I operate more like a site manager under your definitions.
right,
And then I'm thinking to to promote one of my staff to my role soon, as we ramp up because he's the one that's been proving himself the most. And we do have a couple junior staff, and so it's four coordinators and then two new people, like two brand new people. So it's six people, but four
right,
like original OGs that's been there 2 years or more. Um, and then two others. So it's similar structure. Uh, yeah, we have like probably 8 active studies and then 12 to 15 if you count like maintenance and stuff. So
right.
we're getting close to you. I think I'm gonna follow your model. And I was thinking about hiring a central regulatory person
Yeah.
too soon.
It just alleviates it, man. I mean, it's something that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do the business development, right? You don't want to focus on, the ISF and
Hmm.
CVs and GCPs and whatnot. And I kid you not, like we brought this person in about 2 months ago, and
Are they
immediate.
working like in the office or from home?
She's working from one of our sites.
Okay.
She's working from our Huntington Park site. That's your favorite site, you
I
said, right?
love
Huntington Park.
Huntington Park. The Huntington Park is the shit for those that don't know. Underrated
Um,
city.
it's really cool, man. I'll take you guys down to that one. That was a pretty big
Hmm.
space, but that's her base location. She travels to the other ones, but through that location, since we're switching over to eReg, she's doing a lot of things remotely, getting our two other, kind of junior regulatory coordinators up to speed to help with all the other studies, the new studies, the startup packets.
Hmm.
All of those things are things that even up to this year to, now I'm still doing myself, but I can't keep doing that because I got budgets, I
Yeah.
got contracts,
That's what
I
happened
got,
with us. I had my lead
yeah,
CRC do all the study startup, and she got really good at that.
yeah,
And then now I'm thinking of promoting another person to be my role, which under
yeah,
your definition, like I said, is
yeah.
site manager. Yeah, I think it's just a few tweaks and you can simplify things.
Yeah, yeah, and then your staff is going to feel a little bit more at ease because they're not
Yeah.
having to deal with everything, right?
Yeah,
They get
yeah, yeah,
bombarded
yeah.
with all these emails, and you got to sympathize with them, man. Something I learned is, you have a good environment for your team. Your team is gonna give you good results, right? So if they're
Yeah.
in a nice, clean space, their back's not against the wall, even though you kind of want them to still be, but you're bringing in that support. They see that coming from you as, the leader of the organization.
Hmm.
They're going to work hard for you. They're
Yeah.
going to work very hard
Yeah.
for you, and if they see you working as hard as they are, they're going to give you those results. And thankfully, we put a pretty good team together. Some of the staff is very new. Some of them have been around for I think we have a coordinator that's been around for almost 4 years now.
New
Um,
new is the best.
Yeah,
We have one that has been around 4 years. She's our employee number two. She's awesome.
yeah,
But I like my favorite part of being a site owner, besides like all the cliche business stuff, is like when you know, because I've been a coordinator, I know what I'm looking for when the personality type that I need.
yeah,
So
yeah,
when I find someone like research naive, just in the interviews, I'm like, I know this person's gonna do amazing in research, and they don't even know it. That's like my
yeah.
favorite part. And then just to see that happen. Sometimes you're wrong, but usually in that regard, I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, like you never really know until you try them out, and
Yes, yes.
I mentioned this during the podcast with Ronak was we take phlebotomy interns, right? They want to complete
Yes,
their hours, get their
yes.
sticks done and everything. So we put them through the whole process. They get their GCP, their ADAs, they get delegated, and then we see how they work, right? How efficient they are, how effective they are in that short week because they're there for 40 hours.
Hmm.
And we've picked some of those up, some of those coordinators that they've later. Two of them just passed their 3 month probation period. Gave them their raise, and they look promising. They're very aggressive, and they pay attention to the details. They're not stressed out yet, right? Because they're still entry
Yeah,
level coordinators until we
yeah.
start throwing some things on and making them lead for studies. But yeah, I mean, and then we've had some bad ones that we were like, okay, this is not going to work out. Let's just cut our ties there. Um, but again, it's always a learning process, and that's my favorite part. Honestly, it's always something to think about. Some of the site directors we communicate at 2, 3 in the morning because we just can't sleep. We have an idea, they
Wow.
have an idea, they want to share it.
What
Sundays.
is your title?
I mean, I created it. It's director of
Oh
operations,
yeah, that's
right?
right. I introduced you with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's director of
That's a good one.
operations.
That's a good one.
It's a cool one. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what else to call myself. You
It's better
know?
not to call yourself anything, I think, and just have other people do the stuff, which
Yeah,
ultimately that's my goal. But to get there is you have to keep removing, at least me, keep removing myself more and more,
yeah.
but ideally create a system that replaces me, which is easier said than done.
Of course. And then, being able to delegate and feel comfortable with that and
Mhm.
stepping away slowly, slowly, slowly. And then eventually you see yourself like, oh crap, I don't have much to do now. Let me find
Yeah,
something else. Let me find.
that's the best feeling because that's one where you could be like, all right, let's do a patient ace, let's do a
Right.
podcast.
Right.
But yeah, when things get very busy though, I usually have more text I need to reply to, or like
Yeah.
there's always gonna be something they're gonna contact me, like, hey, how do we handle this
Always.
issue? I don't know how.
I get
So
that all the
yeah,
time. And
yeah,
and and that's what I'm here for,
yeah,
because now I
yeah,
can, give that time to this site because they're dealing with this issue.
yep.
I was able to separate myself enough where, I got now a business administrator who's handling the business admin stuff that I was doing
Oh,
before,
okay.
the hiring, the onboarding, right now he's doing invoices as well. And now we're bringing in somebody that's going to do invoicing only because that's taking up so much of his time.
Hmm.
It's funny because I joked about it today. Like he's been probably the busiest he's been since July for the past 2 weeks. I haven't heard him say a word because he's been so busy with just hiring, onboarding processes. And this stuff I used to do, and I would fall behind on doing contracts and budgets. And I hated
Oh,
getting
so you
those
have him doing
follow-up
that stuff
emails.
too, and
Yeah.
the um invoicing and all that.
Yeah, yeah,
Makes
yeah, yeah.
sense. So he's
Making
like
other
kind of
departments.
your HR in a way.
Yeah, yeah. He's doing a
Okay.
lot of the HR right now.
Okay.
It's just like, again, you start looking when you step back, you start looking at the, high level operation. Like, okay, where do
Yeah.
we need to,
Yeah.
simplify it? Where can we separate it from the clinical side?
Hmm.
Like I told my team, all sites right now, I told them, I don't want clinical to be involved in regulatory. I don't want them to think about regulatory because I want them to focus on the clinical stuff, recruitment, data entry. Eventually, data entry, I don't want the coordinators to even have to do data entry.
Right.
So we're moving in that direction, and I think any business that runs efficiently has these departments. If you look at big
Yeah.
organizations, they have people that just focus on one thing. They don't look
Well,
another way.
that's my next point. So I think these site networks, these very big site networks, and you and I have much smaller site networks. Mine smaller than yours, Um, they're forcing us, the big ones are forcing the small sites to improve.
Yeah,
Because back in the day, like even before EDC, there was paper CRF, and it was acceptable to complete your CRF right before the monitor got there because no one's checking it until they actually physically come rip them. Like
right.
I used to do that. Oh, well, we stacked all our source and then like the night before the monitor came, just put everything in the
Yeah,
CRF.
yeah, yeah.
Then technology made it to where it's like that's not acceptable. You have to do it within 3 days, right? Three to
Right,
5 days. And
right,
now what's becoming the norm? It's like even faster, email answer right away. So everything's being pushed and streamlined towards more efficiencies, and that's because of the big site networks that are forcing
right.
that.
Of
Because they're
course.
like the small sites would never really do that on their own. It's like very comfortable to operate how you are, and then the sponsors would just accept that's the way things are.
Right.
But no, they're pushing the
Of
bar
course.
forward, and the smaller sites that don't adapt, they're gonna not get
Yeah,
approached by Nova
yeah.
Nordisks and all that.
Yeah, they're going to get left behind, of course. I mean, you have to adapt with the times. Technology is changing, so ideally, I mean, the way we have things now, should be faster, right? We have e-sources and e-reg. I mean,
Hmm.
you're not dealing with 50 binders and, a room full of charts and,
Man, we used to stack them
yeah,
like high, and then the day before monitor cam, just enter in the CRF like by hand.
yeah, yeah. And again, I think technology is improving. We have to improve with it, right? Or
Yeah,
you get left behind. And there's so many resourceful tools nowadays that makes you know makes doing research a lot more efficient, a lot more effective.
yeah, and the sites have to improve or get left behind, especially in the more competitive markets. Like I feel like we get in Yuma, we get more of leeway
Yeah,
because of our location, where it's like, well, if we were in LA, we could not get away with some of the things we do, but because we're in an area where no one else, literally no one else is, they're more willing to give us like second and third tries. Whereas I already know, like from Anaheim, when I had a site there, that wouldn't be the case. You would just get left behind unless the sponsor really loves your PI for some reason.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course. I mean, again, the proof is in the pudding, right? Like if you're gonna do that good work, you're gonna continue to get activity. And if you continue to adapt and roll with the punches at the end of the day, because these sponsors and CROs are changing things, new forms and new platforms and vendors and trainings. And if I think some sites that are, and I've heard this before from other CRAs and sponsors. Some sites are very combative. They're very stuck to, no, this is just exactly how we're going to do things, and push back enough where the sponsor's like, you know what, we see this as a headache in the future.
Hmm.
We want to be compliant. We want to give them, their space, but we also kind of need to draw the line at some point. Like, look, dude, we're not going to use your temperature log for your IP when we have other studies in here. This is our SOP, and those are the kind of things, the ground rules that we set with our partners. And we try to make it easy for them. They try to make it easy for us as well.
What
And
do you guys use
um,
as far as like tech stacks? I know you mentioned, and thank you for using Patient Ace. You're, I think, our best site, according to Ronick. But what else do you guys use? Like, what other tools do you guys have?
um, I mean, for temperature monitoring, we switched to this last year because our coordinators, just kept doing the manual log with a jumbo min-max thermometer.
Hmm.
So we switched over to a system called Mocrio, which we use as a, continuous Wi-Fi enabled thermometer. So 24/7, 7 days a week, it gives us a
Hmm.
report. So that's pretty neat. Took that responsibility away from the coordinators, so they didn't have to come in there, and some of them would forget to do it. So we had to write that, note to
Well,
file
with
what
those
happened
come
here.
other problems, man. I'm dealing with one right now. We use temp stick, something sounds
Hmm.
similar to what you guys have. And we have like all these temp sticks everywhere, like they're all labeled. But if somebody doesn't watch, like it's very easy to like not set the alerts or to ignore the alerts because let's say one of the fridges is constantly warm or whatever. People start ignoring, and then you start getting like small temperature excursions, like
Yeah,
just zero point 0.1 Celsius more than it should be, but like it happened like 10 times. You have like 10 deviations. And
yeah.
then if you dosed patients, it's like, okay, well, the sponsor's supposed to like quarantine,
Yeah,
like we've gotten away from it being a safety issue, but we're in the middle of dealing with this now. It's because it kind of uh points to technology is not always the solution necessarily. I mean, just because it's more efficient doesn't mean it's gonna provide, like solutions. Like someone still has to pay attention. Someone still has to
of course.
look at the logs, even though it's doing it for you. The tendency is to, okay, well, that thing's automated. The alerts are on. Well, what if on one of them, the alerts were off?
Right,
Like,
right.
but you don't notice. Like, and then monitor asks for the log. You're like, oh, why did all these
Yeah.
excursions happen?
Yeah.
So they almost need like a new role for this kind of stuff.
You can never take away the human aspect and replace it, with technology, AI, we're still going to need the human aspect of it. As far as the temperature goes, again, we switched to this and we were having that situation where like a coordinator would open the refrigerator to look for IP
Yes,
for 30
yes,
seconds, and then the temperature jumped up to 8.1,
yes.
8.2, and close it, and then it takes some time to get back down. So what I came to find, and this is the fun part of my job, is I was like, what the hell is going on? Why are we having these excursions, right?
Hmm.
When the refrigerator is marking, 6.5 or 5, right? Um, the probe should be in a buffer. I don't know if your current stuff is in a buffer, which
Like in a cup
basically,
or something.
yeah, so there's like glycol buffers. If you look at your
Okay.
equipment, the temperature probe is in a liquid solution, which reads the actual temperature, right? If your probe
Okay.
is just hanging, and this is a tip for anybody that's using these kind of things and having these issues, um, we purchased glycol buffers for the temperature
Okay.
probes. I kid you not, we can have
Wow.
the refrigerator open for a minute to look for the IP. We have not had any of these false excursions. I consider them false excursions because it was initially reading just the air around the probe, which escapes right away, versus it being in a liquid solution that kept the temperature in range. And this is across ambient, refrigerated, -20, -70 or 80. And for the past, like I would say, at least 2 months, we've avoided these false excursions and not having to make these reports.
Removing
Because those are
false
annoying, man.
excursions. We're dealing with this right now, and we're not on a screening hold or anything because it's a very tough study, and we're one of the
Yeah.
only few sites actually randomizing. So they're
Yeah.
like trying to work with us, but we don't have like probes. We have temp sticks. It's like a USB thing like this.
Okay.
Like the same ones that basically come when you get the drug, and then you just
Oh,
throw it in
okay.
the fridge, right? But I think we can put that in a glycol buffer too.
Again, that's the problem with those type of thermometers is they're reading the air temperature. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And that air
yeah,
temperature escapes. If you open your -20, your
yeah,
-80, your
yeah.
refrigerator, it's gone,
But
right?
glycol buffer would work for even not a probe, right? Just like the
I'm not sure what kind of device it is. I'd have to look.
yeah.
What is it called?
Temp stick, TEMPSTIK or STICK.
I'm stick. Let me take a look. I've never seen them.
I learned
Yeah,
about them from Judy Galindo. Shout out to her.
sweet. Yeah, yeah. I see it here. Yeah. I haven't used this. I don't know if this would be effective, but I'm looking at it here. Look, it says Temp Stick Pro with buffer bottle.
Ah, that's new then. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So this one
Temp
has
stick
it.
pro with buffer bottle.
Yeah. So this is probably
Ah, I'm gonna tell
what
them
you
to
want to
get
look
this
at.
one.
It
Yeah.
does ambient temperature -40 to 40 Fahrenheit to 140 Fahrenheit. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is what you want. This is gonna eliminate your false excursions because those are false excursions. If your CRC opens it for 30 seconds and it shoots up to 9,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the IP inside the refrigerator is not really 9. It's still at that liquid temperature.
With buffer bottle, and they are new because when I bought ours, these weren't out yet. So,
Yeah, yeah, I see it right here. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat so
okay.
you in your this Zoom chat so you have the
Thank
link.
you.
But yeah, we switched to that, and then again, when we did, everybody's excited. Okay, we're gonna have to manually document it now, but then we were having these little excursions here and there, and um, again, my job is to stay up at night and to figure out why the hell is this happening. And um, sure enough, I mean, it just dawned on me. I was like, well, the it's air temperature that it's sensing versus actual temperature of the IP that's in there. And yeah, that mitigated. I think you guys would like that.
Wow, you just helped solve one of our problems, thanks to doing
Happy
this
to do it.
podcast, man.
Yeah,
These
man.
are the little things no one talks about. Nowhere.
Yeah, and this is
Nowhere.
why sites need to talk, man. I mean, there's
Yeah.
probably a ton of stuff that you guys are doing that we can improve on, and other sites. I've learned from other
Yeah.
sites,
Do you guys use Monday.com?
No, Monday,
Ooh, it's killer,
game
bro.
changer.
Almost, not quite, but it's like
What
it
is that?
makes my life a lot easier. So Monday.com is this project management tool, and you can assign tasks to your staff, and you can even automate stuff. So you know how like PI's emails get ignored, and the PI's like what a lot of sites do, you're not supposed to, like, but they log in for their PI to see.
Mhm.
This bypass it because you can automate the PI's all your PI's emails to go in this Monday workstation where you're not logging into your PI's emails, they're just being sent there. So now the coordinators also see the emails, right?
Right.
And then the automation, like the workflow, you can automate like um, Google Sheets, or you can have like different workspaces for like day-to-day things. Like on mine, I have fix this temperature issue, as an assignment to two people.
Right.
But then our QA person sees it. We have a part-time QA person, and then we can tag people, and then it shows you like what's open, what's closed. To me, it's been a game changer because I'm not in the office a lot, but
Right.
if you have multiple sites too, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
To me, it's worth the money. It's you can have a free version, but you probably already need, based on your size, you need like the level I have, which is not that
Right.
much. It's like $90 a month for
Right.
all the users you'd probably need.
It's called Monday, huh?
Yeah,
Monday.com or
and I'm
Monday.
amazed like Creo or none of these vendors actually have like a work project management workflow, like just overview of what's happened, who's doing what that day, who needs help. Like you can just put it there instead of texting everybody and having all these,
Interesting.
So we use Monday.com, and it's been, for me at least, been pretty good. You can even
Yeah.
upload files there. So like you can see things quickly. They have a good app. I love it. They don't sponsor. I
Interesting.
wish they did, but they don't sponsor.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll definitely take a look at it. We
Yeah.
use Microsoft 365 for a ton of things. We brought in somebody that basically, specializes in it, and then
Mm.
our remote assistant who also knows how to use it has streamlined the process of scheduling and assigning roles and tasks. I have no idea how to use it. I stay far away from it. But these guys are using it pretty efficiently. It looks like they're keeping up with the metrics, how many screening visits, and how many day ones and day twos. But we'll take a look at this. I'll definitely make note and
Yeah, I think
have our team take a look at it to discuss it.
Monday will even integrate with all the Microsoft stuff. So
Sweet, yeah,
um, it's kind of cool. And it's very user friendly. Monday is like people pick it up right away.
that'd be great. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the things, the Mocreo with the buffer. I'm telling you, that's gonna
It's
save you the
already
headache
gonna
of
be
all
a
those
game changer. I already
excursion reports.
I already sent it
Um,
to the staff.
yeah. That's just one of the things that we've kind of like, started using for technology. Of course, we're using for like e-sources and e-reg, we're using a vendor called eClinPro, which has been doing a pretty good job. I think there's still some, tweaks here and there that needs to be made. But thankfully, the vendor that the support we're getting from them is pretty efficient. They're very responsive, and um, we started that late last year, switching over to electronic everything. Electronic sources, electronic regulatory, and it's our CTMS as well. So we manage our patients there, our studies, and um, it's doing a pretty good job. But that's what we're doing, man. I mean, again, we're trying to improve. We're trying to make it
Yeah,
easy for the PIs to sign in, log in, sign off lab reports, and know what's going on ultimately.
I think you would love Monday. Do you guys use
Yeah.
any like eSource or anything?
eSource is eClinPro.
Oh,
Yeah,
Eclin.
eClinPro.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
eClinPro
Oh,
is
that's
what we're
right. That's
using.
right.
Yeah, eClinPro is for eSources and eReg.
That's right. That's right. If it wasn't
and
for Creo,
CTMS.
I would use them if it wasn't for Creo. I
Yeah.
found Creo first and I'm loyal. Shout out to Raymond Nomisu. Plus they sponsor the podcast, so I gotta stay loyal. But Creo and eClin Pro, eClin Pro's the one I recommend for people after Creo.
Right,
Uh,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Creo
I
has this
think
cool thing now. You can request a record, medical record.
yeah.
As soon as someone signs a consent, you know how like sometimes you can't find their record? You push this button and you confirm that you get their consent. And then based on the patient's zip code, it will find that patient's record or they don't charge you. And it's $30 if they get it.
I was gonna now that you reminded me, we use a vendor called Myanmar.
Myanmar,
Similar thing.
okay.
Yeah, Myanmar, and
Okay.
basically it's the same thing. What you get the patient's HIPAA waiver, and you upload that into their portal, and you get medical records. You get either, and again, I don't do it myself, so I can't like give you too much information because I'm not sure exactly how it works.
Yeah.
But I think you get like a face sheet with some basic information, and then if you want like full medical records, they go out and
Yeah. You
look for
click
the
a bunch of
records.
stuff basically.
Right,
But
right.
they're
You
all
have
based on
that
the same technology,
same
really.
concept. Yeah,
Yeah.
same concept. They use probably AI to do a lot of the stuff.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, we started using Myanmar as well. Again, some of the screening windows is 14 days, and we're like, you don't get the records right then
Yeah.
and there. But through Myanmar, we've been able to expedite that process. So that's one of the other tools that you reminded me that we use, um, along with the other stuff, Uber Health for transportation, for
We
patients.
tried using Uber Health. I found that the Uber regular is faster.
Really? Well, yeah, we
I
don't have
mean,
any
we
issues
just
with
have
it.
our coordinators do it from there. We create like one for the work, and we in Yuma we don't need it as much. But back in SoCal, we tried Uber Health, and for whatever reason, maybe they improved it now, but it we were early maybe, but
Probably,
it was
yeah.
slower than the regular Uber.
Yeah, no, we use it religiously. That's the
Oh,
only platform that we use for transportation for our patients. I mean,
wow.
I've heard that, they click on requests and a minute later the transportation is there. So it's probably gotten
So
a
the
lot
your
better for sure.
coordinator will request it.
Yeah, yeah, either the coordinators or
Okay.
receptionist, they'll
Okay.
request the ride, and yeah, I mean, they've been able to accommodate patients in wheelchair, so
Mm-hmm.
that's something that we're using. Again, we're just trying to find whichever way we can be more efficient, more effective, and
Thank God
provide
for Uber,
better
man.
results. Oh, for sure.
U-
Yeah.
If it wasn't for them, we'd have to call like ambulance companies and pay like 10 times more.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing a great job too. They're being innovative again.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
being innovative. I think that's the key to any operation, whether it's research or not, being innovative and
That's
unique. How do you
awesome,
stand out?
man. Yeah, we've had amazing podcasts with like practical solutions already. Um, I don't know. I think definitely worth connecting with Jesse. His LinkedIn profile's underneath.
Yeah.
Oh, how
Thank
do you
you.
guys pay patients? What do you guys use for that?
We're using Dash Solutions. That's one of the vendors
Okay.
that we use to pay our patients. We've been using them for I think about 2 years, and we learned the hard way. We used to write checks,
Yeah.
and one of those checks was cashed for
Yep.
a very good amount. Thankfully,
Happened to me
obviously,
once.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, when that happened, it was a pretty large amount. Thankfully, obviously, the bank is gonna, back up your money. So
Yeah.
the person did get away with the money, and then immediately I was like, we got to find a solution. Next day, we had a call with them, and they got us little custom, debit cards that has our logo on it. It's pretty cool. Then we just load it. They charge you, I guess, per load, and then like a certain fee when you activate a new card. But
Hmm.
it just makes it so much easier than having to write a check or however.
Yeah.
We always pay our patients at the end of every visit as well. We find that it keeps the patients happy, and um,
Yeah.
they get an instant reward after their visit. So yeah, that's the vendor that we use for subject payments.
Creo has one. We haven't used it yet, just because the majority of our studies offer like ClinCard,
Yeah,
and so we don't need it for the majority. In the cases where they don't, we do either check or cash, but you're
yeah,
right. With the check, I've had not in Yuma, thank God, but back in SoCal, man, I had to make police reports, and because if you don't do the police reports, what people don't know is like the bank starts thinking you're in on it,
yeah.
and like Because it happened to me 4 times in a row with probably the same people, but they use different names. So
Right.
the bank's like, "Oh, do you have police reports? Because there's a lot of them." I'm like, "No." They say, "Yo, you have to go because even though the cop's not going to do anything, if you document it, it's less like
Yeah.
likely that you're in on it." And so
Right.
I had to
Right.
stand in line at the Anaheim Police Department, pain in the ass,
Yeah. I
bro.
bet. I bet.
Oh yeah. And then I know
Absolutely.
you guys can't do anything, but I'm writing a police report, and then unenthusiastically they give you paper and
Yeah.
tell you good luck.
Yeah. 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 I mean, yeah, you hope you get your money at that point, but
We got it back, but like you, the guys got away with it.
yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, it's all, tracking. It's electronic, so every patient you got to search for it. They lose a card, you send them a new one,
Hmm.
and at the end of the year, they get what is it, a 10 W-9 or
1099,
something,
yeah. Oh, you guys
1099 or
do that.
W-9,
You guys
whatever.
they send that automatically, right, to the
Yeah,
patient?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I used
For
to have
those that we
a
can.
I used to have issues with those because not anymore. We do multi-therapeutic like you, but back in the
Right,
day I was only psych.
right,
And a lot of those clientele are very Medicare and SSI dependent.
right,
And the first thing they ask, don't tax me because I don't want to burn my,
right.
benefits. So it's like you feel bad. Why would you punish someone for being in a study?
Of
So we would
course.
just pay them
That's terrible.
cash and we would
Right,
eat the
right, right.
tax bill ourselves. Like we
Of
wouldn't even
course.
write that off. So there's still not a solution for that, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean you're right. I mean they are being punished for being in a study and
Yeah.
contributing to science and medicine.
Hmm.
But of course, I mean if there's something that we need to be flexible with and accommodate, we're happy to do so.
Yeah,
As long
yeah.
as it's with all the legal parameters, we're more than happy to accommodate
Well,
these
my CPA
patients.
said as long as you eat the tax and don't claim
Right,
it,
of course.
then you just petty cash, but you're paying tax on it. The IRS doesn't care, from what I've been told. But if you ask enough attorneys, they're gonna tell you different things.
Probably.
They're gonna
Probably.
scare you, so you pay them for the support.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, like, we try to do things by the book to the best of our abilities. But yeah, we've had situations where, patients are like, hey, I can't use this, or I'm blind or whatever. They prefer cash, or
Yeah,
they don't have a social to put onto these electronic payment systems. So, we gotta figure out a way. If there's a will, there's a way.
there's always a will and a way. Man, we can go 3 hours,
I
Jesse.
bet.
I
I
mean,
bet.
maybe when we come in person, man, we're gonna go to Tarzana.
Tarzana would be cool. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. We're gonna
We'd be
find a
happy to
time.
host you guys.
I can go out there anytime, but Ronix, from North Carolina. But
Right.
what's likely to happen is I'll come out maybe with one of our new staff members. We just hired someone else.
Yeah,
I'll announce her soon, but yeah, we'll probably do that.
for sure. You guys let me know, man. We'll be happy to host you guys.
That'd be awesome, man. Everybody go follow Jesse Padilla right now. His link to his LinkedIn is underneath this video or in the show notes if you're listening. And he's a diehard Laker fan and
There we
I'm assuming Dodgers based on where
Of
you're
course.
located. And
Definitely, man. I mean, it's the hometown. You got to root for the home team.
I like all of them. I like Angels, Dodgers. I like Padres. I mean, you guys got a San Diego site. You got to be a Padres fan too.
No, man. Not me. Not me. Maybe our San Diego site director is gonna do that, but we're LA Dodgers over here, man.
I generally root for the team that sucks. And right now it's the Angels, but of course I was rooting for Dodgers in the playoffs. There was
For sure.
an
Hey, man,
amazing run
those
they
guys
just had.
they played their hearts out.
Yeah, they
It was a
did.
very good series, very
One
exciting
of the
series. But
best. One of the best.
yeah, I'm glad it turned out the way it did. It looked very meek towards the end, but
Well,
they pulled
yeah,
it through.
they pulled it through, and now we got the Lakers. I'm excited again about the
Yeah,
Lakers
for
for
sure.
once in a long time, and yeah, it's exciting stuff in SoCal areas.
Absolutely,
So
man. Yeah, let me know
Jesse,
when you guys are down.
hopefully you come to San Diego for SOS in March, and
We'll do.
I'm gonna actually have a to-do list to like look at panelists and stuff. I don't know if they're all assigned yet, but if there's a spot to put you in, I might, if you're down for it, put you on there.
Sure.
Well, I'll talk to the team. I don't know. They don't like me doing last minute stuff like that, but
I
I don't
dig it.
know. I feel like we need to hear more of your voice out there.
For sure, man. I appreciate you, Dan. Thank
All
you so
right. Thank
much.
you, Jesse. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Everybody, catch you later. Bye
All right.
bye.